You guys showed up fast. I wasn't expecting so many people at lunchtime. Excellent. So right now we are having one of our Pit Crew meetups. We are discussing Internet of Things and also Watson. So let's bring up our panelists for that. We've got a good group. Maybe we can get the Watson guys on one side and the Internet of Things guys on the other. It might make it a little easier. Shuffle accordingly. Thank you. This is our final Pit Crew meetup, so thanks to everyone who came by and saw our earlier discussions over the past couple of days. I'm Veronica Belmont. And all right, so I'm going to pass the microphone around unless we have another one.
We have.
It seems like we do. So just introduce yourselves and talk about what you're working on.
Hey, I'm Michael Rowe. I'm the program director for our Internet of Things activities across Software Group, and I'm working on connected vehicle and hacking all this together.
Sky Matthews, I'm the CTO for our connected vehicle solutions. I'm working with Michael.
Doug Mueller, Program Director for Internet of Things and Software Development Manager, working with Sky and Michael.
And my name's Tim Hahn. Again, working on Internet of Things, some connected car stuff, and more than that in general. So.
Hey, I'm Will Sennett. I'm work on Watson Marketing, and I'm working on the Watson Mobile Developer Challenge and how we engage our growing partner ecosystem.
I'm Carl Krenzel. I'm also on the Watson team, and we're clearly outnumbered by the Internet of Things. I guess there are more things around than there are Watsons. I'm a distinguished engineer on the Watson organization. My team runs all the copies of Watson that are plugged in different things. So, in the Internet of Things, I hope.
Soon.
So I think I have more people than questions, so if anyone of you wants to jump in and answer something that's already been discussed, if you have something to add, feel free to just grab the mic and do so. But we'll kick things off with what are some of the misconceptions about Internet of Things? I think a lot of people out there are like, oh, does that just mean connected fridge? Does that mean, my rice cooker is connected to the Internet? What are we talking about here?
That's a good question. So certainly a lot of focus on the Internet of Things has been really on the consumer side so far, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? We're seeing a lot of activity around cars and everything from planes, trains, and automobiles. It's all connected now. So a lot of good data. But another big concern that people have is data privacy, right? So okay, now everything's going to know everything about me all the time. So certainly as we're building out our solution, we really want to make sure that the privacy is taken care of, that we're not publishing everybody's data out in the internet constantly. So privacy's got to be a big solution going forward. Yeah.
But just as a good funny aside, there is a Tumblr blog if you want to know about connected fridge. It's not safe for work, so I won't give you the total name, but it's internetfridge.tumblr. It's really funny if you want to look at some cool tech.
So, I think the other thing is if you look at the overall IoT space, the number of devices are growing significantly. And so it's not, of course, about refrigerators, not just connected cars, but, we're really seeing a huge number of devices. And over the next several years, we see that in the billions, not in the tens of thousands or a couple for Watson,
I guess the other thing I'd bring up is that you have to look beyond the consumer or the human space. Even though the human space is a lot going on, talk about cars, infotainment, medical devices, fitness devices. These are the things that are sort of top of mind because you see them all the time. But there's a lot of stuff in the business space around tracking things going on around the shop floor, what's happening in your business, what's your fleet management look like, what's your maintenance schedule look like, even in your physical plant, whether that's roads or other physical infrastructure, or electricity lines, pipelines, and so forth. So there's a huge space outside of what you think of as human that also applies to the Internet of Things.
Well, what are some of the similarities between IoT development and something like mobile development?
I'll give it a shot. So when I think of the Internet of Things, really, definitely in the consumer space, but also in the business space, we have device-side development, and then we have what do we do with the data, how do we consume it, and how do we engage the data into a process. And that's, on the mobile side, it's kind of that systems of engagement, engaging this in, taking the data, taking the analytics, and developing applications around that data based off of the feedback from the data. And you've heard this week a lot about DevOps and faster time to feedback. Now you extend that into the device side, and now you can change that feedback loop into your business processes, your mobile applications, et cetera, and do it much, much faster. So the iteration on the device side may be much slower, but the iteration on the consumption of that device side is much faster. So from a development perspective, faster time to code.
I guess from my perspective, there's a couple things happening with the mobile space and the device space that are still sort of wide open. Arduino devices, Raspberry Pi devices, Intel Edison chips, there's a whole set of form factors that are producing sort of high computation and high sensor network style devices that you can spread out just about anywhere. You can put them anywhere, leave them anywhere, you can power them in all sorts of different and exciting ways. And then there's also the case where we'll take the mobile platform, something that's maybe Android-based or iOS-based, and we will then reuse it as part of an Internet of Things, or we'll use that as the sensor platform as being what's going on. So it's very wide open right now, and you have the potential to program in all of those different environments, and managing the applications across those things is going to be a big challenge.
And while there's some similarities, I think the one thing that should be kept in mind, and this is to Tim's previous comment on devices, is that some of these don't require human interaction. And so that's, I think, a real critical differentiating point between what you would think of as a traditional mobile device and, say, doing some additional self-diagnostics, giving engineering a feedback loop for, say, a connected vehicle. Mm-hmm. So now there's nothing that the human is interacting with on the front end, but it's going back to the engineers that did the original software development and perhaps seeing some trouble codes in the engine or transmission or battery.
Well, I think you kind of answered my next question, which was going to be, it seems like a passive kind of experience in a lot of ways for the consumer, because, you may think, why do I need a connected fridge? Why do I need my car connected to the internet? Maybe it opens me up to security issues or just unnecessary connectivity. But it sounds like it's more of a way to kind of check to make sure everything's working properly, also beyond just the added convenience factor.
Absolutely, because, and I'm sure there's huge jokes about connected refrigerator, but look at this from a power consumption perspective. If the compressor's going bad, it may still cool, but it may take 10 times the power to reach that level of cooling power. So it looks fine on the surface, but getting some connectivity and saying, hey, now the energy consumption is spiked, take a look at it, see what's going on.
And finally, do you guys have any kind of idea about an outlook for the number of connected Internet of Things devices that we'll see within the next 5 years? Is the number basically limitless?
It's really looking that way. I mean, we are definitely seeing a large number of connected device opportunities. Somewhere in the 100, 200 billion is some of the notes that we're seeing, and then actual connected devices over 5-6 years, we're looking around 30 plus billion.
And what's finally, beside the fridge, the weirdest connected device you can think of? All right, and remember, this is not necessarily a PG crowd, but this may go on the internet, so careful.
Yeah, see, here for me, it's turned into it's a fine line between convenience and creepy. Okay, so the whole thing with the connected fork and watching my eating, that's odd for me, okay? I'm not sure I like that at all.
Have you guys heard of this, the connected fork that tracks the number of times you lift it to, and it buzzes to tell you you've been bad? Yeah, thanks. No.
Exactly. Well, I wanted to joke about the connected toilet, but that's going to happen and it's real now, and that's not that freaky actually. I've seen the connected rice cooker.
Right.
I've seen the connected crock pot. And I actually don't think I'm as creepy or freaky. There's a convenience factor. And as long as I can opt out of certain data sharing and then opt in for the things that I need, I think it's really exciting. I don't think there's too much creepy stuff yet.
All right. Anything you guys have seen?
Well, it was funny. Yesterday, Michael sent me a text. He was trying to talk about the connected car, but he typed connected cat. Well, turns out there are connected cats, okay? So we do put sensor tags on our cats and dogs now.
That's
so
true.
It's kind of funny.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anything you've seen, Doug? Or
Well, and so connected toothbrush.
that's
what actually
why.
might have.
Why?
Well,
Why
I
would
mean,
you need that?
You don't have kids.
your dentist.
Yeah, you don't have kids.
I
Oh,
don't,
have you brushed
no.
your teeth?
I do have cats though, so
Well, I
I can get
don't.
one.
Do you
They're
brush your
not yet
cat's teeth?
connected. I do actually. Yes, I brush their teeth. Dental hygiene for pets is very important.